this tonight.
Okay, okay,
Ooh,
live.
I don't have an Alice.
Welcome to the Disabled DM YouTube channel. I'm Driven D&D, and tonight we will be doing something a bit different. I'm gonna be a player tonight, and Amber Shade is going to be a guest DM. So with no further ado, I'll turn it over to Amber Shade.
Alright, well, I'm Samuel. I am known to some as the Embershade Innkeeper. I have been DMing for around 2 years now, and just looking to have a lot of fun with these fine players here tonight. First off, I'm going to give them a little scene, and then I'm going to ask them to enter the tavern that I have laid out for them tonight. With that, what you see as you enter this tavern, each of you in turn, is a dive bar known as the Ratty Wench. You see the sign outside first, and then slowly we walk inside and we see several individuals kind of strewn about different places in the room. Behind the bar there is a dwarf with long, fiery red hair and a set of fine brown clothes. He's very well dressed, but most of his clothes are dirty and dingy. He has a set of gloves that he wears that emanate some purple smoke. And as we get closer, we can tell that there's actually stones in these gloves that give it this coloration. He has this brimmed hat that he's currently turning as he's looking around, looking to the door. And we also see a halfling man about 3 feet tall, burly and muscly, sitting at a table by himself with a small black bear sitting beside him. He wears brown clothing as well. Most of his stuff is dirty and dingy as well. And he looks almost like a bear himself. He has banded mail on and has a fork on his back. A pitchfork, actually. And then we have a female elf, high elven woman with an angular face, black hair, and hazel eyes. She has dark leather armor and wields a short sword and a dagger that are currently at her side. She is currently sitting at the table across from this halfling, drinking a mug of ale, boasting about her last kill. There's also another dwarf in the corner of the room, female with white hair and hazel eyes. She has large eyes and wears leather armor as well, and wields a long sword and has javelins strapped to her back. Finally, we have a human woman at the bar, drinking alone. She wears full plate. She has golden hair and hazel eyes. She is steadfast and beautiful, and the symbol of the shadow rests on her shield. And with that, I will go down through the line here from my right to left and do character introductions. First off, we have Mary.
Okie dokie. So, Allison, who is outside just kind of playing around with her magics, trying to entertain, and or maybe some side coin, decides to go in and get a drink, obviously, in the goodness gracious, where are my notes? Anyways, the Ranty Ranch, and she goes on in and of course sees everything, but she's for everyone that's kind of there, and with her cat perched up on her shoulder, a Siamese cat, she walks on over to the bar and sits down next to the human, and like she keeps like a chair between them just because like she's not that friendly, but she'll go sit at the bar with her and order up just a pint of ale and whatnot. And
Day one responds to you, the man behind the bar, and he says, "Oh, we don't have any ale here. All we've got is black wine. I know it's shit, but it's all we got." And he goes in and pours you a glass, this black wine, and it looks like tar pouring out of this tankard that he's pouring it out of, this pitcher that he's pouring it out of.
Okay. So my character, she probably would look a little off from the setting. Like, she is fairly, like, I don't know, and from the description you gave, clean looking. Like, and so it probably would have turned a few heads, maybe just like, what is this person doing in here? Like, okay, she clearly doesn't notice social settings or standards or whatever. And so, but like when he pours this cup of harsh wine, she just kind of shrugs, and she'll take the cup and swirl a little bit and smell, take a sip, and just basically being polite about it, and thanks the barkeep for his service, and I will give that opportunity for anyone else to walk in. Otherwise, in a few moments, she will strike up conversation with the human next to her.
Okay. And next up, we have Joe.
As you see the door swing open, you see a rather tall Drog enter the building. And one thing you notice about her is her skin appears to be chalk white. And in her left hand, she's carrying what appears to be a small fishing net with 3 wriggly fish still hanging in it, and a long forked spear on her back with 2 short swords at her side. She strides forward with confidence. And the only thing she does is she glances over at the high elf bragging, and she sort of scoffs. She strides straight over to the barkeep. He goes, "My good man, a drink if you will, please. It has been a long day. If not, conversation would be fine too." And she smiles.
The dwarf will smile in return, and he will say, "Yep, here's you some black wine. Good luck. I'm not responsible if anything should happen to you when you drink this shit." And he'll pour you a glass as well, this tarry substance that he calls black wine.
He sort of looks at him and looks around the room and goes, "Well, you still have a patronage, so I assume it will not kill me." And she chuckles and she takes it and makes her way over to a table.
Allison just kind of chuckles under her breath as well, just like,
And after that, we have Jared.
So right after the last one comes in, you just see like this little tiny gnome, maybe 3 foot tall, but it's not like any typical gnome that anybody normally sees. He's got this deep gray skin, kind of like a light charcoal, and he's got these just bewildered eyes, and he's got this gray, kind of like a childish cape kind of thing, like a kid would wear as playing a superhero, and he's got this wide look on his eyes. He comes in the door just before the door closes after the last person came in, and he's looking around super quickly, and he takes a look at the bar, and he sees Allison sitting there, and he runs up, jumps up onto the bar stool, and looks at her with just this great intent, and he says, "How are you doing that? How are you doing that?" And he was talking about the magic tricks that you were doing outside, because he is actually a magic user as well, but he's still trying to learn it. So he saw you doing magic outside of the bar, so he comes in and he saw you. He just wants to talk to you and learn anything he can just because he saw you using magic.
Awesome. And with that, we go to our last player, but certainly not least player, Jaren.
After a moment, the door swings open and a tall figure walks in, standing almost 7 feet tall. He glides up to the bar, looking around, kind of eyeing the room. Bartender, give me a drink. I'll take anything you got. And don't worry, little guys.
And he kind of looks around, kind of awestruck that this person's even entered his establishment. He's never had anybody of your kind enter his establishment before. And he looks up for a moment, and he almost looks alien to all of the other people here as well, as Dragonborn do not exist in this world. So,
bloody hell, what is that?
Kills it, looks
with that,
over, says, Eyes is a Dragonborn lady. No worries, I shall not eat you, although I can't say the same about my axe.
And the bartender walks around behind the bar and behind into the back room where a lady walks out, and she's dressed in dirty clothes as well, but she brings you a pitcher of this black wine. It says, "Here you go, just don't make any trouble, please. Seems you've disturbed Daewon. He won't be joining us again tonight." And with that, she scurries off behind the bar to take up his position.
He nods, takes a drink, and
With this, when the
and it takes.
with this, when this is the dragon, she's going to slowly make her way over towards him, sort of sit down next to him, gazing at him slightly, and she just mentions, "I've not seen one of you before. Are you too a traveller? For I've travelled the great way, but never seen one such as yourself."
He'll look
And
at
as
the
this
person speaking,
statement is made,
and he'll say,
Go
"I
ahead.
am far from home. I'm not quite sure how I got her, but obviously I was sent here for some reason." Then he takes a swig of this black wine. Reminds me of the dragon spirits back home. Only ours was hot.
And with that, you'll notice that there's been a few people enter behind you as well, all dressed in brown clothes and cloaks, and they all immediately go and sit down around a table in the corner of the room, towards the front of the establishment. This dive bar is looking pretty rough, and now that you're all in here, you can see that the floorboards are missing in parts of the floor there. And you can see there's holes in the floor, and looks like the bar's been just chipped away from so many people just bumping against it and rubbing their hands along it and such. It's not any place to be proud of by any means. But this is where you find yourself. And there, the individuals start to sit and talk amongst themselves. They're being quite loud and quite rowdy, speaking of how good of a job they did at during their last mission, and that they can now retire and won't have to work for many years to come. The paladin that is sitting next to Allison is actually currently looking over her direction and speaking about the crypts beneath the gardens, talking about how if she was just a little bit more brave, she could go in there and clear that place out once and for all. While the elf and the halfling are apparently talking about, you're not sure, but you heard something about a swarm of something down at the Haunted Moor.
I think the underground crypts would have caught Sparky's attention. If he was talking to Allison, I'm assuming the paladin was right on the other side, so he would have just kind of like poked his head over Allison's shoulder and said, "Underground crypts? I come from the underground."
The female paladin nods to him and says, "Indeed, there are many creatures down there, but what I'm after is the fame of being the one to clear it. However, I'm afraid I can't go. I'm too afraid of the dark, too battle-worn to return to such things." You can see now that she's got a scar over her left eye.
Allison just kind of looks at her and is like, was this something that you were attempting to do alone?
I think Sparky would chime in and say, "She could use magic. I could use magic too. We can go down there together and do it."
Well,
you hear from behind you a light chuckle, quite playful in nature, and Nilita speaks up. "You say you're from the underground. I live in the underground, dear child." And she sort of shuffles away over to you, obviously making fun of your height. And she goes, "You do not want to be playing around in the dark. It can be dangerous for some, you know."
I would say I was born down there.
Oh, really? You could have fooled me, my friend.
Yeah.
She sort of leans over on the desk with her elbows down, resting her chin on her hands. And she goes, "Anyway, tell me, you've got me interested. What is down there? Why did it frighten you so?" And she looks over to the human paladin.
Creatures not of this world. The dead, they walk down there. I saw ghouls down there. I saw shades. I saw Wyatt. Lucky for me, I had a potion of invisibility and was able to scout before attempting anything.
Oh, wherever I go, every town, every village, the dead seem to walk the earth. It is an issue, but you're right. If you were to rid this incursion, then great fame could find its way to you.
Well, with or without fame, we need to, if there is such a problem, it needs to be dealt with, because otherwise those things may surface, and, well, that's just not good for the town.
And Sparky would chime in and he would say, "Well, two birds with one stone. I get to go underground and we get to protect the surface. Sounds like fun too."
I like to look at it the other way around.
Does anybody have knowledge history? Even if you don't have it, I'll allow an unskilled check currently.
Come on, history.
Nilith sort of joshes with Sparky, and she goes, "I like to look at it. We've visited up here, and we get to go save down underground, no?"
What does a 12 get her?
You have heard that there are flesh-eating ghouls beneath the city. Though the sewers have been thinned out, it's possible they might have migrated over to the crypts.
Great. Yeah, no, Allison still stands by her words where it's like, we should probably go take care of this because, if anything, we don't want those things surfacing by chance. So, yeah, she'll, like, just put, if anyone wants to come join me, where should I start looking first? Where is it that this problem has begun? Is it just in...
I would start in the gardens and work my way into the crypts from there. She smiles and kind of insults your lack of common sense in your questioning. And she takes another swig and then just hangs her head and remembers that she was too afraid to go down there herself. But you're willing to take up her task for her. And she says, "I'm so sorry. That's very rude of me. I think I should probably go. But if you do want to go down there, I would recommend that you prepare yourselves. I don't know what they're capable of."
Elzu's gonna look over
surely.
and say, "I got my axe chomper. That's all I need. And I care not for saving this town. For my thrill is that of battle and blood being spilled."
My, the snake on leg has a temper, does he not?
About this time, as you say that, you hear a large clang come from the table in the corner where the men in brown all gathered around. And what it is you looked over and you noticed that there's a large stack of gold coins laying on the table, and they are currently, one of them seems to be doling out money as y'all are talking. And the halfling has kind of turned his attention for a moment to kind of catch what he could of the potential that y'all are pursuing, potential tasks that y'all are pursuing, and he's kind of been eavesdropping. It's quite apparent he's not very good at hiding it. With his short, muscular stature, he actually bumps the table and
Kelzu's
all
gonna look down.
Oh, pardon you for being rude.
Littles man, do you want something, or do I get a snack?
Sorry, sir. I was just overhearing that you were going to the gardens, to the crypts. I just came back from there. Me and this one here. I'm afraid you won't find much down there. You see, me and her, we took most of the treasures down there. But if you still want to go, it's up to you.
It is not treasures that I am after. It is to destroy the creatures so they won't harm.
Yeah, we can pick flowers on our way. It's at the garden.
Flowers.
Allison just smiles so broadly, just like...
Sparky, take inspiration for that comment.
Nice.
With that, the paladin gets up and bows goodbye and makes her way outside of the tavern, heading down the road. Outside you can hear the sounds of the city. Wood cars whizzing past you, past the tavern. It's very, very calm in here for a moment as the groups finally settled in and gotten their shares. Let's see what else we got.
I think in the meantime, Sparky would talk to Allison again and be excited about her being a magic user. And he's like, look what I learned. And he would kind of
Prestidigitation.
half-heartedly produce like a little bit of flame from his finger and because he hasn't really gotten the most control out of it, the flame would kind of shoot off of his finger and like put a little scorch mark on the wall, and you would see him kind of like jump a little bit, like, oh, happens every time.
At least at first, just gotta keep manipulating it and working at it. And I don't know, just something that.
And then Sparky goes, "Look at this!" And then he pulls up the sleeve of his left arm, and you see this giant glyph that it looks like a brand, but it's not a scar. It's just a dark mark that it looks like a tattoo actually on his skin. And he's like, "This is where it comes from."
Alice is just gonna kind of look at it. It's like, huh. Who gave it to you?
I don't know.
That might be something to look into, because maybe they can better explain how to harness your magics, if that's where it comes from.
It's learning from a gnome that I found. That's why I came to the surface, to try and learn about magic. I've been training, but I'm still learning.
Okay.
And as he says that, he says, "Oh, you must be talking about Nabblepot, that old crazy wench." and this is coming from Day One, who's just decided to rejoin you.
I'm going to join you guys on this. Give me my new buddies.
And then he walks over to the gnome and says, "I think she might have even attempted to clear out that crypt, of which y'all are referring to, unfortunately. Maybe you can find her down there still. Not 100% sure, though."
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a little while.
Oh, hopefully we can find her and you can maybe get better.
And as you say that, the roguish-looking elf woman, she looks over to you and says, "I did leave one thing behind. It's a small trinket. It's a ring. I really wanted it, but I couldn't get to it. You see, it's encased in some sort of magical ice. If you could bring it back to me, I would be very grateful, and I would definitely pay you for it."
And then you would see Sparky get really excited and start, like, he would shoot off 2 more little fireballs from his fingertips. He's like, "Nice! I can handle that."
You really are amused by childish tricks, aren't you, boy?
I love that.
You love magic, you're going to love this. And she just obnoxiously clicks her fingers, and in front of you springs almost like a spark, and it seems to grow. And it's an obnoxious replica of yourself. It's a little glowing figure of some gnome in front of you. And she's like moving her hand like a marionette, and it's doing a jig.
Sparky would actually, his eyes would go wide, he would jump back, and then he would start mimicking the movements of a little thing. It's like a mirror image kind of thing. He would like wave one hand, and then wave the other hand, and then he would go in for a hug.
"Oh, my dear boy, you do amuse me so." And she snaps her fingers and it vanishes.
And he hugs the air, and then he steps back and he looks around like.
And Nilith, I think that's how you pronounce the name.
You say it like Lilith, but with an N, so Nilith.
Nilith. She can have inspiration for that little secret there. That was too cool.
And mechanically, that was just dancing lights.
And with that, he says, "If you want, you can stay the night and then head out in the morning. But I wouldn't stay here if I didn't have to." And he smiles.
Allison would be very welcome to the hospitality and whatnot, and I am not so highly to say no to whatever meager.
If you want, I could help feed us before we go. It would be it would be nice to bond beforehand, would it not? And she holds up her little net of fish.
Fish, that's a delicacy we haven't seen here in ages. Usually only the
Elzu's gonna
nope, get to
laugh.
partake of the fish.
Says, I'm afraid that would not even make a mouthful for me. Hey.
Then you can find your own, can you not? Enigma?
Food shouldn't be in short supply around her.
And Sparky says, I just hope he doesn't eat me.
No worries there, little one. I only eat those who annoy me.
And as he says that, the dwarf will go to the back and bring out a plate that has the hindquarters of a pig, and brings it over to you. And it's cooked slightly, but it doesn't look like it's been cooked at all.
Kelzu will just dig right
good
in.
enough. Yeah.
It doesn't even care if it's cooked or not. Goes, I don't know about waiting till morning, though. It sounds like the sooner we get down there and blood is spilled, the sooner I earn my glory and go home.
Where is your home?
She just asked you a question there.
Yep, give me just a second, I'm scrolling.
Yeah, Allison just kind of looks
down.
like...
My home
Okay.
is a land called Tavia. I was teleported here when I refused to kill a human wizard, like my clan wanted me to. And then you see he tries to smile, but it looks more like he's growling, and you can't really tell if he's trying to eat you or be friendly. Hey?
Well, lucky him, Allison is undeterred and just kind of... just... Okay, interesting. And she will also make mentions like, but I think if we rest on it tonight, we'll have daylight on our side. Or at least the daytime hours on our side.
Not really sure daylight's going to matter if we go underground.
True.
Exactly.
And Sparky, do you say that in character?
What's that?
You say that in character?
In character, yeah.
You definitely know that it's not going to matter.
Don't worry, guys. I can see underground.
Oh, I can too. I'm not necessarily worried about that. It's just the potential of if the fight did go to the surface.
Well, all in favor of going now.
Say aye. Aye.
So Allison wants to go. Who else wants to go now?
Sparky's down to go now.
I'll go. The sooner we deal with this, the better. Besides, my coins run low, and if I'm stuck in this land, I definitely need funds to pay my way.
Or you
And
can
with
farm
that-
on the side.
And with that, does anybody have a background in Esladon? Nope.
Yes,
So
no.
y'all wander around for several hours through the city before you'll finally get a guard that is like, he finally stops you and says, "Are you lost? The gardens are over there. That's what you're looking for. You've been everywhere but there. It's right over there." And leads you to it. I can't hear you, Joe. You can't hear you at all, Joe. Nope. So, with that, y'all find the gardens, and you find that there is a small building in the far north of the gardens, where you see what looks to be two statues of angels facing each other before the small door leading into which you could only assume is the entrance to a crypt.
I think Sparky would run up and examine one of them to see if the figure is familiar to him.
Knowledge religion will help you out with this.
Be a 14?
With a 14, you know that there's some sort of angels, probably of a good-natured deity, but you can't place exactly whose guardians they are.
So he would run up and look back at everybody else and say, "I think they're good guys."
Allison just kind of looked at him long and hard herself, and she just nods like, could be, because she would have won on that intelligence check. Sure, why not?
So everybody's kind of gathering around. You see Sparky going up, examining these, and coming back to y'all. He says they're good guys, and I want to know what Lilith is actually thinking at the moment.
Looking at these statues, well, firstly, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, looking at these statues, would she think they'd have anything to do with the shadow? At all?
No.
No, okay.
No, there's no indication of the shadow. It's really odd, but especially since most people openly worship the shadow, that an actual good deity has a place within the city.
Nilith is mentioning, goes, good you say, but what is good? Good is subjective. I'm good, but I do not parade around telling everyone how good I am and building monuments to myself.
Allison just smiles, just like,
As y'all are all kind of gathered around, I'll need a perception check at disadvantage from everyone.
That's not good sounding. What is it? 12.
I rolled a 17 and an 18, so that's going to give me an 18.
I rolled a 16 and a 17 and got 19.
Just need one more. If you got over a 15, you can hear the groans of something coming from the doorway. It's kind of echoing out from around the bars of the building. And they're the faintest sound on the wind you can
21.
possibly hear. Especially with all... And with a
Jeez
21,
Louise, you all.
and with a 21, you at disadvantage, right?
Yes. More
Use
than
a 21
18
at
and a
disadvantage.
19.
You can actually tell that these are not sounds any regular human would ever be able to make.
Elzu's gonna... eyes are gonna light up. So sounds like trouble. My kind of action. Enough dilly-dallying around her. Let's go and be about our business.
I think Sparky would react, and if you look down and saw him, you would look down and his eyes get narrow, and he gets this really evil grin on as he kind of pushes his palms down towards the ground, and you see his dark gray skin start to glow like a reddish orange, just faintly around the edge of his skin as he casts mage armor on himself.
Nice.
Oh, little boy, I have tricks too, you see. And she sort of spins around to get your attention. And she pulls out two short swords, spinning them wildly. And as she does so, at the tip of each of the swords, it glimmers very faintly, and then a bright glow emanates at the end of each of the swords.
He says, that's pretty neat. But he's still got that evil smile on. Like, his whole characteristics changed from that real cheeky, upbeat guy to this. Now he means business, and he's happy that they're in some danger, potentially.
Elzu's just gonna
Show me what you can do,
behind him and pull out Chomp's his great axe, and you'll notice that the blade of the great axe looks like a skull with its dragon fangs coming down, and he'll say, "I stand ready." And he'll start to stroll down towards the crypt and look for a way in.
As you do this, you start striding forward. Nilith Halfman, she goes, "Wow, you look as strong as an ox, and as smart as one too. I suggest you lead on."
And you can see the grate that is currently chained up. Looks like there's a little peg that the chain is ran through, and binds the gate shut into the whatever lurks below.
Sparky's investigates it. He says, he points to it, looks at the Dragonborn, and says, "You look strong enough. Hit it."
Why hit it? And he'll grab hold of the chain, and with 23 he'll try to break the chain apart.
Okay, give me a strength check.
23.
23. And yes, that was a natural 20.
Okay, so what does it look like as destroy? So what does this look like as you destroy the chain?
I would say he takes it in one hand, pulls it tight as it can go, and then with the other hand brings his gray axe down out in an arc and just cuts straight through the chain, and then throws the pieces to the ground. Says, "No one tells Kelzu where he can and can't go."
As the gates slowly swings open for the first time in probably ages from the looks of things. The dust on the grate.
Would I be able to make a wisdom check? See if this really looks like it's not been open for a long time, and people back at the inn have been claiming that they've been here.
You won't need to. You can already tell. It's very clear that no one's been in here for quite some time.
She'll make a comment to the party. Goes, perhaps another way in. Anyway, shall we continue on? Snake with legs, would you lead the way?
Sparky's gonna spark up a light here. He's gonna grab his staff. He pulled out his light crossbow in his right hand, and in his left hand he's gonna use his staff, and I'm gonna use my light cantrip to light that bad boy up as we start descending down.
Alright, so it's basically like 20 feet of bright light.
Yeah, 20 feet light, 20 feet of dim light.
And so it illuminates well enough for everyone to see. And it goes down beyond the light, beyond this gate. Goes straight down, almost.
Killzoo's just gonna take
Before
the
we
lead.
enter,
Oh, hang on, Aslan, or Allison. Sorry.
before we enter, Allison kind of hearing Joe's character mention like, I guess something about like, oh goodness. But basically the idea that if the townsfolk has been countering or dealing with these things, the fact that we had to bust open something that looks like it hasn't been open in a while, she's going to look at Gigi and she's going to be like, and tell him to just go investigate, like go look around carefully for any other potential entrances. And so she's gonna have her cat familiar just kind of peruse the graveyard for any other potential entrances as they go explore this option.
Using the cat's stats, give me a perception check or an investigation check at advantage.
Advantage, I like this. Okay, wisdom is a +1. Alright, 16.
And she finds no other entrances, but she comes back, and you get the impression that she thinks that there might be another way in through a stone disc that is located in the ground.
Okay.
In the street, in the middle of the street.
Alright, so I guess everyone's prepping up to start going in and such. Allison will just pipe in like, hey guys, did anyone notice a stone disc in the road or on the ground as we came in?
Sparky says, no, but we heard the noises from over here.
Okay.
And when you look at the back at the entrance, you notice that you weren't able to see it before, but there's actually a ladder leading down into.
A ladder.
Yep, that's not stairs. It's actually a ladder just going straight down. But you peer over the edge, and you're able to see as far as your light can see. And it doesn't appear like there's anything unusual.
Can I see the bottom with the light?
Not from where you're at.
Well, I
The two lights
don't
on the end
know
of
about
Lily's swords
the rest
sort of converge, and then make their way
you.
down the ladders, and they go as far down as they can.
Okay. Jaren, you had something? Sorry.
Yes, I was saying I don't know about the rest of yous, but I don't think that ladder will support my weight. we go the path we
Never know until you
see.
try.
Well, if it doesn't support your weight, at least you'll get to the bottom rather quickly.
True.
Allison just
So-
chuckles, just like.
However, I feel
So,
sorry for
right there,
whichever
right
one of you I land on.
Oh, how about you go first?
A hoot, you say? You call me a hoot? What next? You call me a bark or a neigh? Silly girl. She
So
sort
now-
of chuckles and shakes her head.
You started down the ladder, and it's basically looks like rebar just bent into this ladder, basically making up the ladder itself. And you descend a good 120 feet before you reach the bottom finally.
Who went down?
Lilith.
Okay.
I'm sorry to choose such an obnoxious theme.
It's all right.
You're in competition with me, clearly.
Oh god, some of the shit you caught again. My name is Guy Ableron Leblee.
So Lilith is
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Get it
Just
down.
wait till you meet Aowen.
This is Lilith
Just say Lilith with an N, so Nilith.
with an N descends down.
When she gets to the bottom, is she in any immediate danger? And does she look? She looks around. Does she see anything that might cause any immediate threat to her?
No, but when you do get to the bottom, the scent of decay assaults your nose.
Okay, she's going to stand down there, readying her swords, and she's going to half-heartedly shout up to her companions, and she's going to go, "Oh no! Look at this! I'm being assaulted!"
Allison like zips over the edge, like, are you serious?
I think
And like, as she goes down, like starts working her way down. Just like, what the hell?
I think Mark can pick up on the sarcasm there, but either way, he would stick the staff with the light still on it into his face, rack his crossbow behind his back, and then start descending just after Allison. Just try and stay close enough so she is in my light.
Oh, Allison has dark vision, so whatever.
All right. Well, either way.
She may look like a human, but she is a half-elf.
So everybody's descending at this point, leaving Jaren up top.
Yep.
Come on,
Kazu's gonna wait till they all get down before trying to descend. Knowing that the ladder's probably not strong enough to support his weight at close to 300 pounds.
It's a magic. It's a magic ladder. It'll support anything.
Well,
Okay.
going by the description,
You're not going down or what? I'm getting like choppy, broken words from you.
Are you coming snake with legs or not?
Do we make it to the bottom?
So y'all get to the bottom, except for Jaren, because I didn't hear what he said.
Yes,
What he was trying to
once
say.
they're at the bottom, I'll descend and hope the ladder will support close to 300 pounds of weight and none too gently.
Okay. So you get down, and you jump down 120 feet, basically.
Basically. As I speak for him.
And
Really?
do
Is that what
I
he said?
happen to fall on anyone?
Allison would have given wide berth to the ladder, knowing he was going to come down.
So, go ahead and roll me. Since you're jumping down, Jaren, roll me. Hunter, give me 12 d6s worth of damage that you take.
Holy.
12! There goes our tank!
My friend.
Spread your wings, Brannigan.
What wings?
I'm sorry to derail, but this reminds me of a perfect quote from Longest Yard. It's, I got a bird. He's called Ronnie. You tell Ronnie you just got knocked the fuck out.
Yep, soon as I hit the ground, I would collapse on top of whoever I land on. Seeing as
You don't land on anybody.
Okay.
Because
We hear the whistle of a body coming. We all just vacate the space. Just like,
boom.
oh dear. I ain't catching that.
Ground would shake
Yeah,
as
how
I
much
land.
over your hit points did you go? So you are now unconscious with a broken leg.
Lilith just looks at everyone and she goes, you know what? I should be worried, but at least I was right. He's as smart as an ox.
Allison will go over to the fallen comrade and just like do her best at a heal check, which
Not to think about it, it smells like it from
Go
two.
ahead and give me
I got a natural 20 on that roll for a heal check to try and like help him. Untrained.
So you push the bones back into place and manage to scrap together enough of
Funny
the
enough,
clothes to basically make him come back at 1 HP. He's just kind of unconscious and he's not going to be able to walk on that leg currently.
well, your kind is easy to put back together. No, just saying. Having never experienced one of these and using a heal check untrained, so it's like you guys are kind of easy to put back together. And I say that as a compliment. So how you feeling?
Oh. Did anyone get the
She's trying to be very pleasant. and
get
whatnot.
the dinosaur that just hit me? It felt like the young days when our clan members would wrestle. And from the looks of my leg, I would say I lost.
Well, I did the best I could. I don't know how to heal, unfortunately.
Everybody can have a perception check at advantage. Now that y'all are all down here.
No, with advantage I got an 8. Come on!
I
Allison?
rolled a 10 and a natural 20.
Nice.
Okay, nat 20, you spot several potions on the wall, kind of laid into it. Looks like they've been set on a shelf that's made into the wall here, down here.
I think
Alright.
that's my superior dark vision. That's what it is. So, you know, being a deep gnome, being able to see 120 feet in the darkness, I roll over there and I say, maybe these might help. I shake them around and I kind of look at them to see if I might know what they are.
Sure, unskilled or whatever, if you have skill in...
I got Arcana.
yeah. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. Arcana.
19 and 3 makes 22.
22?
Oh my gosh.
So there is actually a potion of Cat's Grace, and there's also a potion of Lesser Healing, which will restore 2 hit points.
All right, so I'll take that one over to him and say, this one might not help much, but it'll...
I was going to be kind of like, wait. It seems awfully coincidental that we find these. Like, are you sure that's going to do what it's supposed to do? Let alone, why is it there?
And Sparky would say, hey, don't ask questions. We need it. We got it.
That was, of course, after you kind of looked it over and dusted all the dust off of it. So you hand him the Lesser Healing Potion.
What?
Does he drink it? That is the question.
Why are there potions in a crypt? Are they expected?
Randomness. I gotta love the randomness.
Oh, he would.
Well, it's really old.
He
and who
would
knows?
definitely drink it, being at 1 HP and used to being in front of a battle. Oh, he knows 1 hit would take him out of the fight.
Girl, I think you're asking the wrong questions. It's not why would they be here, but why would there be a shelf in a crypt of all places?
Oh, Joe, always one-upping me. Thanks.
So now that you're down here, you see a long corridor. It's about 20 feet wide, and it goes to the edge of your light and continues onward. What's really peculiar to you is that the roof can't be seen with the light.
So it's can I see it with my superior dark vision? Are you get an idea for how far it is?
Yeah, you can. It's 60 feet up.
Okay. So Sparky knows that this is we're in a hallway?
Yes.
Okay. So the hallway is what, maybe 6 feet wide?
The hallway's actually 20 feet wide.
20 feet wide, okay. Oh, so it's bigger than a hallway then. It's just a big
It's a large hallway.
Okay. 20 feet wide, 60 feet tall.
And at the edge of your vision, you can see other shelves in the walls where there's what seems to be corpses laying atop these shelves. They go up. From what you can see, this far away, there's at least two levels of shelves.
Okay, so I would look over to the other guys, and I would kind of, as I'm looking around, I would backhand one of them and say, hey, take a look, see if you guys can see this. As I, just kind of point out the size of the room, and now that our eyes are adjusting, we might be able to get a little bit better view on what the surroundings are. So as I notice this, I'm trying to get them to notice as well.
Normal pilfering wouldn't be on the forefront of my mind, but we may need to find something for our little snake with legs over here. Can we see what we can find for him?
I think that's a good idea.
And so y'all set forth. Like I said, there's at least three rungs. There was 2, but now you can see plainly there's 3 sets of shelves, and they just go along the inside of these walls, this hallway here that you see. You can see that it looks like some of these bodies have already been gone over once or twice, but not in quite some time. As the dust is thicker in some spots, it looks like some of these bodies have actually been moved or disturbed, possibly from grave robbers. Y'all make your way up, and I guess y'all are searching the corpses as well.
Yeah, I think Sparky would. As as he makes his way over, he'd be looking at the shelves mostly, not really paying much attention to the corpses. But as he gets close to him, he'd give him like a look over. I think the first one he came to, he'd probably put his head close and kick one of the ribs.
So you kick the rib and it clatters and clangs against the other bones as it falls out to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The sound echoing throughout the hallway. And y'all can hear that familiar sound from before again. Like a whisper on the wind. That groaning sounds imminent. Sounds closer than it was. You know how close you certain that you can't tell.
I would run back over to Nilith and Allison. Not really a guilty look on my face, but I kind of like, oh well.
So if you want to do an investigation over these bodies, you can. For searching.
17 for investigation?
17. You find a small scroll. It looks like it was on another gnome corpse.
Ooh, I might be able to use this. Does he recognize anything about it?
Does anybody have any cleric levels?
Any what?
Cleric levels.
Oh.
Did anybody spend any time with some sort of religious group or anything?
Technically, yes, but
Okay. Okay, we'll say, Nilith, you know that this scroll is definitely a scroll of cure serious wounds.
oh shit.
So Sparky would hand it over and say, "You could read this?"
Yes, with great ease, in fact. But do you want the good news or the bad news?
Bad news first, always.
I won't be able to do anything with it.
That's not that bad. What's the good news?
I can read it.
Oh, what does it say, silly?
Let me think, boy. It says, can you read it? If not, then you're a silly goose. No? From the underground, I think not. Because, no, I kid. I jest. Actually, if we were able to get someone to use it, we'd be able to help our friend out over here. It is a note of curing.
You can also you also have the option of waiting and letting him heal naturally. If that's what y'all feel is what y'all would do. It's really up to y'all.
Could make a wisdom check to see whether or not Nilith suggests that.
Are there any kind of, like, big tapestries hanging from any of the walls?
Sure. Describe a tapestry that's hanging on the wall for us, Jared.
Okay, so as we're approaching one corner of the room, as I get closer to the back of the wall, it's not just one, but it's four thin ones that are lined up next to each other, and they all have a slightly different symbol on each one. They're all the same color. In the dark, from what I can see in the darkness, they seem to be a dark orange with what used to be maybe a gold trim on the outside of it, and perhaps they were the four different guilds that maybe have belonged to an old kingdom that maybe somebody used to worship back in the day. When this place is really old and hasn't been touched in a very long time, so it's just long and forgotten. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use. I'm just going to light them on fire for some extra light down here with my firebolt, igniting two of the tapestries just to shed some light around the room. hopefully up towards the ceiling as far as we can see, and hopefully some more down the hallway.
Excellent. So with the dust that is laid into this cloth, these cloth tapestries that you are just burning with reckless abandon, burning sigils of noble families, you see that these shelves go all the way up to the ceiling.
And Sparky would look up, eyes wide, and be like, "Whoa."
Is there any obvious things on these shelves as they extend all the way up to the ceiling?
Just corpses and various corpses. They have various types of armor, clothing. Some have rags, others have very fine clothing.
Oh, and I don't have detect magic. Darn it.
And there is a small urn really close to Sparky that has a orange gem with what looks like the shadow of some small, tiny, diminutive creature walking inside of it. It's just a silhouette within the gem.
Sparky would go grab it without hesitation.
You go to grab it?
Yep.
And
you wouldn't think twice.
Go ahead and give me a wisdom saving throw.
That would be a 12.
And unfortunately, that does not pass. So go ahead and tell us what Sparky's... show us what Sparky's worst fear is in a short scene here. Don't mind. And that's what you will see.
He grabs the gem, and all of a sudden, his head kicks back, and the fire that was once on the wall disappears. It just completely goes out, as if the tapestry burned from the bottom to the top in just one quick flame. The entire room goes completely black, and he's still staring up at the ceiling, and he's just completely frozen. From his head to his toes, he can't move a single muscle, and his jaw drops as he sees these beady eyes coming down. And at first, it's one pair of beady eyes coming down from the top of the wall, and then a second pair right below that, on top of those. And then as this creature comes closer, there's a third pair of eyes, and then a fourth pair of eyes, and then one long, thin, stick-like leg touches down, and he's staring face to face at this giant spider that's in front of him. He's got 8 eyes facing him with 3 feet within his face, and these long legs just almost curl around him as the spider is standing right in front of him, and these fangs are just dripping in front of his face. And with all of his might, Sparky does everything he can to let go of this gem, and it's almost like a static electricity where he can't. It pulls his fingers tighter around it, even though he's trying to let go.
And so you see that there's orange lightning arcing from this gem now, as your friend is frozen in place in a fearful, frightful gaze as he's looking into the gem, almost coveting it.
Boy, when you're quite finished, would you come join us again?
As he doesn't, I'm guessing he won't respond to that. Allison will just kind of walk over in front of him and kind of hand wave, just like. I don't remember his name.
Spider.
It's just like, hey, are you with us?
He is out of commission for the moment. He is in this fearful state. A few moments later, he finally comes to, but he's still holding the gem, and he puts it in his pocket for later.
You alright?
Yeah. He shakes his head, looks up at the burning tapestries, looks over at you guys, kind of squints a little bit, like he's not really sure what just happened, as he slowly tucks the gem away in his pocket, taps it in. I'm not too sure, but I don't really want to let that go.
I think you must be missing upstairs already.
And so, as that little sight of him putting away the gem concludes, we also turn to see down the hall. There's a shadow, a dark figure coming across the hallway, going from east to west, from your right to your left, as you're looking down further into this place. These shadowy figures just shambling across. At first there's just one, and there are two, and five. And then all you can see is a small glimmer of light. It looks like, almost like there's more than you can count of these silhouettes shambling down that corridor that's up ahead.
And they're coming towards us?
They're not coming towards you, they're actually crossing the hallway, 20-foot hallway.
Oh, they're crossing the hallway.
Yes. They're like at the edge of your dark vision. Anybody that has 120 feet.
Can I... I would like to sneak up along the wall to get closer to see if I can discern what type, what these creatures are, if I can. Probably get within maybe 60 feet. I would put out the light on my staff, of course.
Okay. So you see Sparky turn off the magic in his staff and fade into shadows as he slowly creeps up to where these creatures were. What you see is men, women, children of all races shambling in unlife down this hallway. They don't seem to pay you any mind. It looks like they're busy.
Do they look like slaves? Like they're, you said shamble, like are they all like shackled together, or?
They are not shackled together. They seem to be individuals not attached to each other with any sort of chains or anything. But what you additionally you do notice that it seems like they're heading to something instead of away from something. As they're not moving at a rapid pace, but they're obviously moving faster than normal.
Like they're drawn to something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back and kind of like motion for my comrades to quietly make their way back up this way. Kind of stick to the shadow against the wall if they can.
Well, you can see that he's motioning for you.
I don't know
She'd actually
how
would have seen the creatures as well,
quiet
and
I can
first
be
she did.
with a broken leg.
Did we not sit a while to let him heal up?
Not at this point, no. Y'all haven't.
Lilith just holds her fingers up to her lips and shushes you both. She crouches down to the ground and she starts making her way over to Sparky. Stealthily, of course. Having seen these creatures up in the distance.
I don't think we're not making any moves yet. We can still wait for him to get healed. We just want to get a closer look at what's going on, see if anybody might know what these people are or who they were.
Nilla sort of just looks at you with almost with her mouth agape. She goes, "You know what they are, correct? They're undead. That's what the people were mentioning. That must be them."
Are these like tangible people, like tangible figures, or are they like just spirits kind of making their way across?
You didn't touch one, so you couldn't really tell. They looked tangible to you, but that could just be your dark vision playing tricks on you.
Okay.
At this point, who has light and who does not?
I do not, but I can choose to have it at will.
I think Lilith does. So I need everyone to make a perception check at disadvantage.
Everybody or her?
Everybody.
11 with disadvantage.
Give me a moment while I pull up something real fast.
7 with disadvantage.
Okay. What in the world? Give me a moment. I'll find it. Okay, here we go. It's going to... Okay, so did anybody get above a 12?
Allison did.
Allison did.
Yep, I got 14.
So Allison, you can see out from the corner of your eye the very faintest of figures, a hand grazing across the back of we don't have the name up here. Jaren, his character.
Kelzu.
Kelzu. You see a hand, shadowy wispy hand traipse across his back, across his arm for a moment, out of the corner of your eye. I need a strength saving throw from, a Constitution saving throw from you, Jaren.
For 14.
What did you get?
13.
That's enough. So, as you feel this cold touch across your arm, you feel the creature try to sap the last bit of your strength away from you, but you resist.
Something foul is here,
I would think with that.
but I shall not succumb to it.
Yeah, Allison is just kind of like, whoa, going over there, and she has a firebolt just hanging in her hand at the moment as she approaches Kelzu and is looking for this shadowy thing.
So what you see is the silhouette of some sort of humanoid without legs laying across the wall and the floor, and it's reaching out from the wall and over his shoulder.
Oh, as soon as she sees it, pow! And she's just going to send this firebolt at this shadowy thing, like, down you go!
Okay, so you're shooting at the hand, I'm guessing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me initiative, everybody, and we'll resolve that attack right now.
21. Not bad for. Okay, the fireball. Oh, that is.
Rondy.
Is that what you had?
Oh,
Only 1d10. Okay.
Initiative. Put initiative, INIT, and then the number for me so I can keep initiative going.
What's your dex mod?
Okay. What AC did you hit?
Alright, then you go first, Joe.
Well, no, you act first because you're acting out of turn first.
Alright, 20. 12.
You hit an armor class 12? Okay. See, that's going to be a hit.
Oh, cool. Then she dealt 4 points of fire damage.
As it takes the damage.
Alright.
it lets out a vicious whisper.
And Allison will kind of take a very defensive position next to Kelzu. Just, Dory, I got your back. Literally.
I think after that explosion, Sparky would turn around, hearing the whisper and seeing the flash of light behind him.
Okay.
There's something over this way, fellas and lady.
We've got Joe and Mary up top. So who has the better deck? Come on.
Joe.
So Joe,
Yes.
what is Nellis doing?
She's going to flash around, hearing the sound, this minor explosion coming from behind. She's going to look over, basically just seeing Kelzu and our other companion just sat there. And he's going to look over to the shambling bodies, seeing if they've paid any attention to us.
No, they seem very distracted, and it's stopped about a moment ago, just
Okay.
before all of this occurred.
In which case she's going to half jog over to them, to Alison and Kelzu, to see what's the matter.
Okay. You do so.
And just like, there's a shadowy points, like right there, shadow.
Mary, it is Allison's turn.
We're just gonna do that again, like shit. Like, so it overcomes Joe's character, Lily, whatever it is with an N, and she's just like, yeah, right there, shadow, pops it with a 16. So.
Yep.
Come on, 2 points fire damage this time. Goodness, come on, Allison.
I'm gonna go ahead and describe killing this wispy, shadowy.
Oh,
creature.
sweet. Yeah. So again, she points like there, shadow, throws another fireball at it, and just I imagine when it kind of did that weird kind of hiss, it just does that again as it kind of wisps off into nothingness, like a smoke, just poof. And there's just that lingering hiss. It's like, and that one's gone. Just kind of looks around, like, might be more, fellas. Maybe.
With that, you have noticed, anybody with dark vision has noticed that there are more. They seem to be crawling out from behind these corpses along the wall.
Great.
Jared can't hear you.
Yeah, Sparky smiles. You see his eyes start to glow a faint red.
We have Jaren next. And Jaren, you can actually see one of them closing in on your position from the opposite wall from where you're at, because of the light of Lilith with an N's.
Lilith.
Okay, as a bonus action, I'm gonna use my breath of wind, and I will gain 12 hit points. So I'll manage to stand up, although still kind of favoring one leg. I'll grab my gray axe off the ground where I was laying, and I'll start making my way over to the shadow. And
You can make it even in your injured state.
Once I get in front of my companions, I'm gonna position myself to hit as many shadows and the corpses as I can. And then I would like to use my breath weapon. Which requires a dex save by the creatures and the corpses.
They're kind of like inside and around, but I'll let you at least make 3 of them make dex saving throws. But there's a potential for it to come back down on you.
Okay.
The acid that you breathe.
Okay, urgently a 2 of them would save, but 1 does not. 3, 8.
It's not an attack roll, I don't think. They can make dex saves.
14.
Right?
Yes, they would make dex.
They all
saves.
failed.
Okay, they
all failed.
They each would take 14 acid damage. 14 acid.
Go ahead and describe killing the first one that it hits. Go ahead and describe killing the first one that this acid blasts through.
Okay, so Kelzu would just open up his mouth and roar, and this green mist-like spray would just pour out, going all the way to the walls, and just dissolving this first shadow. Oh, and hopefully hurting the corpses and the shadows behind it. And then leaving scorch marks on the walls.
Yeah, you've kind of made a hole through this, through these shelves where these shadows are crawling out of, and hit them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna roll a 4-sider, and I'll need a dex save from whoever that is. Mary, I need a dex save from you as the acid comes back down from above. DC 14. Would you make...
You're muted, Mary.
I rolled a 1.
A nat 1? Ooh.
Yeah. She was so engrossed in this, like, cool, I killed a shadowy thing, and raining acid from above as she's, like, starting to notice the other shadows, like, oh yeah, there are more, and blah.
So,
Thanks,
20
Obama.
points of acid damage?
14.
20. I'm still alive. But you just hear this just shriek, just curdling cry of just as her skin's being burned and whatnot, but the cry that just comes in the initial pain, she then just kind of chokes, to silence herself, just like, and as she kind of stands there trying to wipe off this acid using prestidigitation to kind of help wipe off the excess acid, she's just like, she is fighting this cry that wants to escape her from the pain, and so.
Awesome. Does she have a flashback too to her past? Does this remind her of her past in some way?
Oh, indeed it does. Don't worry. We'll get there. So, yeah, she's just standing there, just face contorted as she's stifling this pain.
And with that, we go to Sparky.
All right. Well, he turned around and he's kind of looking around. And you said that the hole that these shadows were coming out of was from above?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's more in there, right?
Yeah, there's 2 more, at least on the right side, that Jaren's hurt, and there's at least 3 more on your left flank, and the immediate. These are back at the front of these shelves.
Okay, so I would look at the three of them that are to my left, and essentially what you would see is he would kind of light a little fireball in each hand, and you would see that glyph that he showed before. He pulled his sleeves up, so the glyph is now out in the open, and you see. But when he showed you before, it was like a light purple glow. Now you can see the glyph, the tattoo of the glyph, is a solid purple, and it's like pulsing under his skin. And he pops these 2 fireballs in each hand, and he's going to shoot 3 out, 1 at each of these spirits as he's casting Scorching Ray. So he kind of drives his heels into the ground, and he just goes. So I'm going to roll 1 for each.
Did you want to use advantage on one of these for use your inspiration on one of these attacks?
Let's see. Yes. I'm going to use that now. Wow, that did not work. I rolled an 8 and then a 4. So, my spellcasting attack bonus is 4. So with the 8, that'll put me at 12.
A 12 will hit.
Okay. So that's 2d6 fire damage to the first one, which is going to be 6. The second one, an 8, and 4 is 12. So it's going to be 9 damage to the second one. And then the third one is a critical fail. Rolled a 1. So that one misses completely and explodes against the wall. But since I did cast
Also make a dex save.
a spell, since I'm a wild sorcerer, I think that means I need to roll on the spell chart, if I'm correct.
That's only after you've used your feature, I think. One of your features.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I think it's, I'm not sure what it's called, wild surge or some crazy shit like that. You get like advantage or something.
Let me look it up. I'll look it up real quick while we're doing that. But go ahead and describe killing the 2 that you hit.
So yeah, you would just see him shoot these fireballs off, kind of like one followed by the other out of each of his hands, and as they come out, the first one goes right through the shadow, and you see just the shadow dissipate into space, and as it goes through, the fire kind of evaporates, or not evaporates because that's what water does, but it dissipates behind the shadow, and then the second one does the same exact thing. Hits the shadow dead on, and both the shadow and the fire dissipate into nothingness. And the third one misses the mark as it hits the wall behind it. So it is after every roll, right? After every spell?
Yeah, it is. I looked it up. So, in keeping with the power level of that spell, water starts to erupt from your eyes and from your nose.
Wait, do you roll or do I roll?
I'm not rolling on a table. Remember,
Oh, that's right.
No. After he casts a spell, he rolls a d20. If he rolls a 1, then wild magic happens.
Oh.
So every time he casts a spell,
Roll the d20. I'm sorry.
Yeah. If I roll a 1, then I go on the magic table. Or you do whatever in the world.
Yeah, go ahead and roll it.
I rolled a 17.
So
I kind of want to roll a 1, to be honest.
So no wild magic. Damn. So yeah, you destroyed those two, and the other one just completely missed. And we now have them. They are going to each float through the air down towards you. We've got 1, 2, 3. We're gonna have one of them try and make its way towards the back, unable to reach just yet. Our friend Lilith with an in.
Yeah.
The other two are going to. One of them's going to go for Allison, and the other one's going to go for Sparky. Just barely being able to make it to each of them.
All right.
Let's see, we've got a Nat 1. It's not really bad, thank God. And the other one gets a 15 to hit on Allison.
She has 16 AC. So
no. So this thing claws at you and swats at the air and misses you completely.
Allison just kind of dodges it, just like.
Now we have Lilith with an N at the top of the initiative. There are currently,
How many of these shadows can she see?
these creatures, there's currently 3. There were 6 initially. Y'all have destroyed 3 of them already.
How close are all of them to her?
One of them is probably about 10 feet away from you, not able to get to you. It's clearly coming straight for you.
What about the others?
The others are 40 feet down the hall.
Okay. So, she's going to pull out both of her short swords, dash straight over to the one that's 10 feet in front of her, and as she does so, she's going to arc up with both of her swords and strike at them. With a 14 to hit.
It's going to be a hit.
And 9 points of slashing damage. As she does that, she's just going to half crouch and dash all the way down the hallway 40 feet to the other one and do the exact same with it, but this time with a downward stroke.
Awesome. If you want, you can describe killing that one that was coming after you.
The one that she identified as coming after her, she just ran straight towards it, and with a swift strike, she just cut straight through it. You could just see the air in front of her just disappearing. Like she cut the tension with a knife, as it were, and it just fell to the floor and fell into a wispy mist. As soon as she did this, she crouched down and dashed in the opposite direction, and as she did so, it just spread. And she goes through the one and she does a downward stroke with both of her swords with a 16 to hit on this one.
That'll be a hit.
And that is 6 points of slashing damage on that one.
And it, unfortunately, is not dead.
That's fine.
But you see that it definitely made impact, despite these things being made of shadows, it seems.
Also, while she's doing this, she's going to keep an eye on those corpses that are still in the back of her mind. See if they've taken note yet.
Awesome. And with that, we got Allison.
Excellent.
So there's 2 left.
Awesome. Yeah. With the 2 that are left, she's
One's right up on you, and it just got attacked. It's looking pretty weak.
she's just literally just gonna kind of, with these dull eyes, just kind of take a step back and just pop another firebolt right in the face. Like, I ain't gonna take this crap. 13 does not hit though, does it? A 13 for attack?
A 13 will hit.
Oh, sweetness. I was like, I thought 14 was the DC. With 6 points of fire damage.
You get another kill. It's here.
Awesome. Yeah, so she just steps back. It's like, I'm not dealing with you. And just sends a fireball right into the creature, and a similar effect where it just kind of gives this weird hissing kind of sound of agony and just puffs into the smoke that wisps away right in front of her. And it's like, yep. For the next one. And so
We have Jaren. There's one left that's looking you straight in the face and wants to take your strength away from you. The only thing that you have left.
Okay, Jiren's gonna, Kelzu's gonna run up with his axe. I believe a 21 will hit.
Oh, hell yes.
For 10 damage as I slice ice through.
This one, you finish it off because this is the one of the ones that you actually spewed acid through.
Okay,
Go ahead and describe the last kill.
So I kind of imagine him spinning his axe and coming up from the bottom of this creature, just splitting it straight in half, all the way up. And then Kelzu will say, I may be wounded, but Eyes is not out of the fight yet. There's some more. My axe still hungers.
Well, there are no more, unfortunately, as you finished off the last one of these shadowy forms. All are now left with the cold silence of the crypts.
I thought you were saying something, girl, but no, you are right. They were shadows indeed. Very strange.
You see Sparky kind of like turning around, looking around to see if they see anything, any other ones, and you know his mage armor is still on. It just kind of looks like a light flame around his skin. You see like a little tiny flame pop off his shoulder, out of his fingertips here or there, and his eyes that were glowing red, they kind of take back their old color, this deep, almost black brown, back to their naturalness, and they kind of widen a little bit as they go back to their natural state, rather than that evil kind of scowl that took over his face before he went into combat. And he looks around and checks to see if everybody's okay.
He had noticed that Allison's like hands and parts of her face have like these burn marks and such, and so she's just kind of standing there with a sullen look and looking about, just trying to see like where next to go, or making sure that no other shadowy creatures sneak up on them.
Sam, you said that I got 2 potions earlier. One was the potion of lesser healing, and what was the other one?
Cat's grace.
Potion of Cat's Grace.
What's that?
It gives you advantage on dexterity saves and checks.
Okay.
I can see you clearly need this.
For the first time, I'm Kelzu's gonna look around with that and kind of take stock of his surroundings.
And
How's that leg of yours?
Currently, he's a little on the light side. The fact that he was able to stand up on his leg is kind of baffling, but
It hurts.
he powered through the pain.
Hurts, but the pups in our clan used to do worse than this.
Bummer. Okay.
So basically, what you see is the hallway and the shelves, and there's 2 corridors that intersect to this corridor up ahead, where y'all saw the figures going across the hallway.
Should we take a short rest before?
Why bother? We're
A
clearly
rest
doing just
would
fine.
be good.
Girl, do not be daft. Your face is melting. I think you need to have some beauty sleep, perhaps?
I'll be fine. Beauty sleep.
So are we going to take a rest there?
I mean, Sparky's okay. He doesn't need to regain anything, but, we got one guy with a broken leg and another one with a melted face, so...
And there's another one that has got things going on that will happen later.
Do we really want to rest down here? We just got attacked. So why not keep going and finish this up? We can go rest when the job's done.
Well, my best
I tell you what,
weapon of defense.
I would go ahead, see if everything is safe.
Hold off, Jaren, for a moment. Joe had something he was saying. Sorry.
I tell you what, you wait here, just rest up for a moment, catch a breath, do whatever it is you need to do, and I'll scout ahead shortly. I will not be gone too long, so you do not have to worry. If I come across any issues, I will come right back. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds more exciting than sitting around.
My best defense needs time to recharge anyway.
But hey, you can go by yourself. It's okay. If you run into anything, good luck on your own.
Oh, my dear girl, I sense a slight sarcasm, do I not? She walks over. What does your hair look like?
It's curly and blonde.
She comes up to you and she like puts her hand through your hair and she starts curling one of your curls, and then she just plucks it away and she goes, "I'll need this. I'll see you shortly." And she sort of rubs it between her fingers and it turns into like a golden dust, and she sprinkles it over herself. She's just cast Longstrider.
I would imagine it comes off awful easily, seeing that she had been burned
Allison
with
just
acid.
rolls her eyes.
Well done.
So, yeah, that was pretty awesome. I would give you an inspiration, but you already fucking had it, so.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, don't worry. Like, I'm not like trying to brag stuff, but like in one game with Tom, I got like a stack of 4 inspiration for whatever reason. I swear it just materializes on my character sheet. Nilith is going to go ahead and scout while everyone rests up.
Okay. So I'm going to take a small break here. Let everybody go use the bathroom, get food, drink, whatever they need. And when we get back, I'll give Joe's character a rundown of what they see.
Okay.
Perfect. You guys in a minute.
Sounds good.
My cat needs to decide to not mess around at 5:30 in the morning.
And it's going to be about 5-10 minutes tops.
Cool.
Okay. That gives me time to keep dinking around.
Yep. And I'll be here so
Yeah, I'm over here
we
working
can
on Laris.
and talk while I'm break. Any fun of
Yeah, I'm just
I
thinking
knew
around
we
working
should
on
have
Laris
taken the other
picture.
way down.
Dear. How much HP do you have, Tom? Like, max?
Max is 30. Right now I'm at 15.
Alright. You'll
So
get your
yeah.
fighter, right?
Do what?
You'll get your second win back again.
And
Yeah.
Allison is a
Yeah, I'll
fighter
get
too,
my
so.
second man back.
Right now
at
she's all
next
thoroughly.
encounter. Now, one thing I am
Why
curious
surly?
about, and I'm not
That
entirely
hurt.
sure,
Duh.
is does the Dragon Breath weapon recharge on a short rest or a long rest? I think it's a long
I
rest.
don't know.
So I should look that up real quick.
I'm just happy that stuff happened. It's like I wasn't expecting to get explored this much of Allison in the game. In a one shot. Oh, Laris.
Short rest, Tom. So you can use it again after the short rest.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
No problem, I give.
You're much faster at looking things up than I am.
No, I've got a physical copy, that's why.
Ah,
And I know where that shit is. Like, I must have gone through that book so many times.
sounds as bad as me. So I'm actually looking through the Curse of Strahd, the vampire supplement that they released recently.
Wait, so you bought it?
No.
You bought it?
It was donated to us.
Oh my god, yes. Like there was a post in the one-shot group. Someone was going to run the Curse of Strahd. I was just like, I would love to play this because I've always wanted to play Curse of Strahd,
Yeah,
but I never had the chance to.
If you
Because
look
the
in
group
the
I play with in real life, they
if you look in the disabled DM Facebook, Philip Adams is probably gonna run some of them for us, and then once I have time to look all the way through the PDF, I'll probably run some as well.
Oh, well, that would be awesome. Because, like, the group I say played with real life, I haven't played in months now, they ran Curse of Strahd before I actually joined,
Yeah.
and they've got so many stories of how fun it was. I'd love to be able to play in it.
Yeah,
So that's really cool.
from what I skimmed of it earlier, it looks like a lot of fun.
because my friends were telling me about the final fight with Strahd that they had, and just all the shenanigans that happened. Essentially, we had a warlock, and he got dominated by Strahd, and essentially convinced everyone not to come into the throne room because he said, "Oh, Strahd wasn't here, and he's in the wrong place." But he's had a vision as to where he was, and he's essentially he failed so hard on his saving throw. He's just a thrall of Strahd.
Oh, nice.
It's fantastic, and he's just yeah. So he's just leading the group on an entire wild goose chase.
Nice. It definitely looks
Y'all
pretty
took those fucking shadows like a fucking beast. Y'all destroyed those fucking shadows like they weren't shit.
Hey,
I kind of forgot, but I also get an additional D8 on my damage if they're below max. I forgot to add that.
yeah, when you have everyone able to use magic and then a dragonborn that can do his acid dragon breath.
On the party, I might add.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes that happens in an enclosed room. Sorry if it leaves some scars.
You know what they say about friendly fire? It isn't.
Yeah. That's why I try to
I like this.
position myself
This is
in
gonna be fun.
front of the group, was to at least limit it. Because it goes in a 150-foot
Okay.
line. So I can really take out a big line of critters with it.
Okay. So, Joe, I'm going to message you a private message of what you see, and you can choose whether you want to share that with the party or not.
Cool. The general idea is to scout ahead during this time so they can get a decent short rest and be somewhat prepared for afterwards.
Just a short rest?
What, do you want to spend 8 hours down here?
Probably not a good idea.
No.
But I'm down 3 out of my 4 spell slots.
You get some of it back. You're a sorcerer.
Oh, wait, no, I have 6 spell slots, but only know 4 spells. Does that mean I can cast a spell more than once?
You know 4 spells. So let's say you know Mage Armor, Magic Missile, Chromatic Orb, and Melt Acid Arrow. You know those 4 spells, and you can cast them in any combination up to 6 times.
Yeah,
So
but if it's a second level spell, I can't cast it as a first level spell, right?
No.
So I have to spend a level 2 spell slot.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
But you can cast a first level spell as a high spell slot.
Yes. Okay, so I can cast 6 spells, and the 4 that I know, any combination, as long as they're level.
Whereas before, if you had those 4 spells prepared that I said, you could only cast them once each.
Yeah, so I have Burning Hands, Mage Armor, Scorching Ray, and Shatter.
Okay, cool. So if you wanted, if you felt the need, you could cast Shatter 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, I've given you a message on Facebook.
Yep, I got it. How long does it take for me to actually do this?
You probably get there in probably about 15 minutes with the travel.
Okay. And was there anything else on the way there?
Not really, just more of those shelves.
Should probably hang around for a little bit. Probably another 5-10 minutes, but try to stay hidden.
Okay.
Okay, given the short rest, Amber, are you allowing us to spend hit dice? And if so, how many?
Yes. Yeah, you can spend whatever normal rules are.
Okay, it's
Up to maximum. You can spend all of them.
okay. I'll spend
don't
all
care.
of them, and that will fully heal me.
And during a short rest, you gain your Constitution plus your level per hour spent in a short rest.
I don't really do it that way. I just do the hit dice.
Which we all should have 3 hit dice.
So if you want to spend hit dice, you can.
I know.
So
I just thought there was like per
spending
hour you
all
gained a certain amount, like Constitution or Constitution plus level. But
you might.
I think emerging systems are the additions.
Yeah, I know the older editions, if you took a standard rest, you gained back like 1 hit point.
But
So Kelsu's as good as new and ready to start back up. Still as stupid as an ox.
So that's what you see inside.
Much smarter. Oh, stronger, I mean.
As you wait for it, man is actually consumed by this casting that he's done.
Okay. When she actually sees the actual summoning, she will make her way back to her companions.
Okay.
Okay, so I would say by time.
And how long would it take to get back to them?
Let's see, 15 minutes there, 15 back would be half hour. Then you said you stood watch for 5 to 10 minutes. So about 15 to 20 minutes after you get back, we would become an hour of the short rest.
Mm-hmm.
When she gets back, she motions past me because she looks over to she goes, "Boy, I have good news and bad news yet again."
Well, as usual, bad news first.
There is a giant undead frog in the way.
There's a giant frog in the way?
Yes, undead me things.
A giant undead frog.
Did I stutter?
It's just not something you hear every day.
Here, you should see it.
I'd love to. Let's kill it.
Chomps
maybe
would
more bad news.
agree with that.
There appears to be a what is the word? Summoner, master, perhaps. He appears to be casting some sort of ritual, and voila! After a moment or two, this giant frog.
Oh,
So-
I want to go see.
I think caution would be the wisest option.
Well, if he's using magic that I don't know, I want to see if I can learn it.
She just kind of furrows a brow at you, and she goes, "Boy, you are so distracted by mere tricks. It's baffling."
Summoning a giant frog. A giant zombie frog does not sound like a mere trick to me. Yes, he has pretty powerful magic.
Lily sort of looks over to Alison, and she just mentions, "Girl, are you well? Do you feel better after your rest?"
She, like, maybe a few spots aren't as oozy or anything, but she still looks pretty horrible. Like, she just sat there and literally just, like, did nothing other than just sit and wait to get moving.
She sort of walks over to you, and she, like, touches your face with a thumb, like smudging it. And she goes, "I could help you with that if you wish."
I'll be fine. I'm tougher than I look.
She sort of pulls out a white tub, and she unscrews the lid, and there's like white chalk inside of it. And she smudges her hand on it. She starts wiping it on your face to cover up the marks.
She just rolls her eyes like, really? Prestidigitation! Look, I might like you!
Very good.
Also, had inspiration for that policy.
Oh, yay! I did it! Oh, hi, Steve.
Okay.
Elzu's gonna look up and
It's up to you.
and he'll just ask if everyone's ready, we should proceed. And he'll stand up and start strolling down the hall.
Allison follows right after. And I think she'll also say as she passes, Joe's character.
Lilith with an N.
Lilith.
Have you ever heard of the singer Serge Tankian? The singer from System of a Down?
Yes.
He sang a song called Praise the Lord and Pass the Ammunition. And it's from that, and it simply goes from Lilith came the prophet came the king came the pope, from the pope came the swing. From the swing came creation, from creation came love. You don't know what this love is all about. It's very simple. Just remember that short rhyme, and you'll remember Lilith.
Totally. Anyway, so she passes Nilith to follow Kelzu. She says, and I'm not the little girl. The name is Sin. And she just keeps walking.
Alright, Sin. Well, let's get this dragon guy on his feet and be on our way. I really want to catch this show.
So everybody heads that way with the Dragonborn first. The hallway is still 20 feet wide. If y'all want, y'all can be traveling in a line or side by side. It's really up to you. But you happen upon this room. It's giving off this. There's a light up in the ceiling area, giving off bright light in this room. It's light blue in color, and giving a small, sly bit of sheen off the frog as y'all approach. You can see it. It's huge in size, meaning one size larger than large. So roughly around 20 feet across. And it's looking in your direction as y'all approach. The caster that he was speaking of is nowhere in sight. Possibly the creature's first victim.
So do you notice that the frog notices us? Or do we notice that the frog just
Definitely notices you, but it seems to be just sitting there currently, as if waiting, as if guarding something.
So it doesn't know that we're there then?
It knows you're there, it just hasn't tried to attack or anything. It's just standing there, kind of shifting from foot to foot. And you can hear a low as it croaks.
Well, shall we kill it?
You see a Sparky look over at you, and that evil grin and that look on his face that you saw last time we were in combat. The same look comes over his face as his eyebrows get low, his eyes start to glow red, and the corners of his mouth approach his ears. And you see his hands, his fingers spread apart, and his skin continues to glow. as the mage armor is still on, but it picks up a little bit back where it's he didn't really uncast it because it lasts for 8 hours out of character, but so it takes its glow back again, and his fingers get a little bit brighter with the flames.
When Alice had mentioned, shall we kill it, Nilith just looks over to her and goes, well then, girl, what are you waiting for? I'll race you. And she starts dashing over towards this Sprog.
And Kelsey's gonna match her pace.
Ooh, this is a curious moment right here.
This,
Oh, but before, hold on, I should ask this first. How far away is it?
It is currently 30 feet away from me.
Fair enough.
Inside the room, in the very center of the square room with the looks like stairs leading up to where it's sitting.
Cool. Then what I just said is canon.
Sin will just kind of stand there, and like this, like smile just kind of breaks her face for a moment, like that. Darn it! She just made me smile, but it fades really fast. Like it was probably there for maybe a second, and then she just rolls her eyes and walks after, just like whatever.
When Nilith gets close, she just does a cross cut with both of her short swords.
Okay, that would start the initiative. Go ahead and do the same thing again for me. Can you roll? Just put INIT.
Oh, 21 again.
Huh.
must be nice. Jeez, what is it with me and my initiative rolls tonight? Rolling well and everything else except that.
I've rolled my
Ooh.
picks. Would you like me to go on?
Oh, I'm hoping I'll be able to. Can I go first? Because I really want to just like with the initiative 21, I want to be like firebolt, and then have Sin just be like, was it whoever hit the thing first? Please.
If y'all want to do a dex roll off, I'll allow it.
Oh no! I got the 21. He got the 19, but technically he.
Hold on. Are you
We're
ready?
gonna
This is
charge
how it's
first.
going to go. This is how it's going to go. Oh, is it the first one to hit it? And then as Nilith is halfway through a stride, she'll look back and with a straight face and then a smirk at the end. She'll go, no, it's the first one to make it croak.
But let's see if that firebolt hits.
So let's see, first crit then. How about that?
Yeah, I rolled massive on both my attacks.
What's that? 18 to hit.
Okay, so you hit, and then what'd you do for yours? I'm sorry. What'd you make on yours, Joe?
24 to hit and 21 to hit.
8 fire damage.
Look. Yeah, that's gonna hit it. Definitely. Both of them.
And from Nilith, a whopping 18 points of damage.
Ouch. But it looks relatively intact. And now...
And as
go.
Nilith actually strikes, she dashes back slightly, so she dashes away 10 feet.
We go to the top of initiative with Allison.
Cool, yeah. She's going to keep proceeding to walk over. And as she's walking over, she is pulling out her short sword and is, yeah, she's like not making any rush to get there, but would a 14 hit?
Yes, a 14 does it.
Ooh, thank you for being large in charge.
You've got a large
creature.
target. Well, actually, a huge target to hit, so...
Just making sure. I don't want to get overly excited and be like, actually, Mary, sorry, that does not hit. Oh. So, yeah, she's just walking along and just sends out another firebolt that just splashes across the back of the frog creature for another 7 points of fire damage. And she has her short sword out and just strutting along, catching up.
It's going to be this. Yeah.
I believe Joe goes next.
As Noth she just dashed away slightly. Again, she's going to do what she for crouch down low and then dash straight towards it. And as she does so, she's going to arch across its back and slash twice wildly. And how far across is this creature? So if she's attacking from the back, sort of rolling over it.
It's 20 feet across.
Okay. So
20 feet wide, 20 feet long.
So if I'm going from 10 feet away from it to straight across, that's 30 feet away. Ooh, and that's a crit and a 20 to hit.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
The crit's double damage, right?
Yep.
You roll your weapon damage twice,
Yeah.
and then add the modifier once.
17 points of damage from the crit, and 5 points of damage from the second attack. And as she attacks, slicing over the top 10 feet away, she's going to dash past it again, another 10 feet. And then from the other side, you can't quite see her, and you just hear the obnoxious voice come. She goes, "I can't see you, girl. Have you hit it yet?"
I roll.
"I think your work might be half done already." And you can't see, but she's got the biggest shit-eating grin on her face.
We have Helzu next.
Okay, Kelzu's gonna run at this toad and leap up and try to decapitate it. Ooh! And then he'll action surge for a second attack.
Oh yeah, action surge, right? Don't forget that.
The first one is a crit, the second one is a 16.
Oh shit.
30.
Give me some damage then.
So for a total of 37.
Oh my god.
Is that thing still breathing?
Yes, it is still breathing.
Barely.
And he'll
That's where I'm
land
right
on
now.
the ground and say, "That's how you do it." And then he'll take a step back and get ready to strike
Does
again.
this become a pissing party?
And as this happens, for the first time, you've seen that the creature looks weakened. It actually starts to seep coagulated blood from its mouth. And we now go to its turn. And it's going to try and eat the person that last hit it. So it opens up its mouth with a 22 and lets its tongue wrap around Kelzu.
Uh-oh.
So I heard kill you, and it's like, oh dang, that was a powerful attack. One-shotted.
And Kelzu, you will take a total of 31 bludgeoning damage as it chomps down on you, pulling you back into its mouth, trying to slurp you into its gullet.
That's more than my max HP.
Same here. So I would ass out as it chomps down on me.
What was that? I couldn't make out what he said. Did anybody else tell me?
No.
He passes out.
Oh, he's out?
Yeah.
Shit. Not good for him then. He might be eaten by this undead creature.
It's okay. He hurts Allison, so karma.
And with that, the creature ends its turn, going to Sparky.
Alright, what I'm going to do, Let's see. Okay. So I still have a level 2 slot. So Sparky is going to be just cackling and like giggling as he's running with you guys, you know, at this challenge to see who can hit this thing the hardest or the first or whatever. He's just, because it's in his blood to just extend fire from his body and just do damage to anything in his path. He's sprinting forward, and Sin does the first hit, and then Nilith jumps over, like rolls over this back in a gnarly fashion, just cutting this thing to pieces. And then, you know, Kelzu's over here, just whacks at it. So Sparky might be the last one into the fight, but he comes sprinting. He's small. He's got short legs, so it takes him a little longer to get over there. But he comes sliding into the room, and he puts both of his hands in the air towards the frog, thumbs touching. His hands turn a bright white light, and just this wall of flame extends from his fingertips as he's casting Burning Hands. So it's going to be a Dex saving throw, DC 12. And I'm casting this as level 2, so it's going to be 4d6 and half damage on a successful save.
He passes with a 21.
Okay, so half of 4d6.
Luckily, the angle was right, and you didn't catch your friend.
Thankfully, I was 10 feet behind it, so hopefully it will reach me.
Alright,
I
that's
was
good.
talking about the one in the mouth of the beast.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
He's already dead.
Well, that's going to be a 15. No. So that's 4, 8, 12. 15 on 15 total, so half of that rounded down. 7. 7 fire damage.
7 fire damage. What's this thing? Let's see. Go ahead. It's actually looks like the fire does a lot more than just what you expect it to do. It looks like it hurts it twice as much. As it cringes and finally lets out a croak, dropping your friend from its mouth, lifeless on the floor.
Ha!
Bo, the halfling wins.
No, he's not a halfling.
No, the thing's still alive.
No, sorry.
But it is very badly hurt.
But it croaked.
So who got it to croak? Was it Nilith with the first one, or was it me?
It was you.
It was you.
Oh, there we go.
And with
It
that,
lasts the party, but I win.
we go to the top of the initiative.
Congratulations, you were the first girl to make it croak. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Wait, who says I'm a girl?
You proclaimed yourself the victor, did you not?
No, actually, it's kind of like Sin's this kind of muttered thing, and she's still like walking, taking her time. I'm going to guess that she's probably now there at the frog, and she has her 2 short swords, and she's like,
Your turn.
yeah, right? Because she's there now, and she's going to start stabbing.
Stabby.
Yeah, so let's see. So the short sword is going to be a 13, but the dagger is going to be a 8.
Dagger does not hit.
Alright, so bloop, goes the short sword for 1d6. Oh, I already have that. Right there, Mary. So she's dealing 5 points of piercing damage to the frog, and then she's going to take an action surge just because her one dagger, and it's just like, just drops it and pops it with another fireball, which was a natural 20. So let's see, how much fire damage can I get?
Oh my god.
So that's 1d10,
All you need is a
7.
5 and you win.
Oh, I rolled a total of 11. Sorry,
So
Dan.
describe killing the frog hemus undead creature.
Cool. So she's walking up and she's just like, ugh, no Metacroak first, whatever. Gets up there with her weapons drawn and just stabs and then just kind of slips for whatever reason with her, like, it's just like, what the heck, why did I miss with this thing? Tosses it and is like, I'll do what I do best, and just blasts it with fire, and the creature just, as the fire ripples across, the flesh just peels away, and it just slumps down, giving out like a final kind of croaking sound, whatever an undead frog would make, and as it dies, and she just kind of stands back and picks up the dagger and just goes, well, I killed it.
And at this moment, as the frog hemus collapses, out from a pile of bones and corpses, and damn it, Joe.
I say stupid stuff, I'm
literally
sorry.
saying something and read that.
Sorry. Like, if you ever get the chance, avoid playing with me because that's all I ever do.
That and I say a lot of stupid stuff, so.
I do too, don't.
So Joe's just reiterating what I said. It's like, thanks for the reminder. I'm
Okay.
intelligent.
And out from the pile of bones crawls a halfling female with this small bit of stone in her hands. She walks over to you and kneels down beside Kelzu. She reaches down, places
He's
the stone.
okay. He deserves that.
She just chuckles, and she places the stone on his forehead. And basically what's going to happen is you're going to have all your hit points restored at this point. She dusts herself off and tosses the stone aside as it's now been used up. The magic within gone. She says, "Thank you for saving me. I didn't think I would ever make it out of here."
Who are you?
Save?
And she looks over to you, Sparky, and you recognize her.
Is that you?
It is Miss Nabblepot.
There you are. I was wondering where you've been. I was at the house training every day the last week. But you were here trying to pick flowers.
I've been down here trying to find the ring. I think it's just in the chamber beyond. If I get my hands on it, I'm sure I can use its power to figure out more about your mark. That soul anchor, I believe, is what we found it to be called.
Yeah, the soul anchor.
And if we get this ring, I should very much like to use its powers to help you.
What are we waiting for?
As she's kind of talking, looking around, she notices that Kelzu's finally gotten up on his feet. She says, "Quite a nasty blow you took from that creature's teeth.
I
Looks like you're okay, though."
I'll be if I he kind of shakes his head and goes, maybe next time I'll leap at it from the side.
Don't worry, my dear lady. I've only known him for a little over an hour, and he's already died twice. He's shaken that up already.
Well, he's doing his job
Well,
keeping you from dying, then, I
the
guess,
first
huh?
time was your fault. I told you we should go down the other way.
Oh, do not try and put your imagined slights on other people. It was all your fault. But Anyway, less of that. We've got other pressing matters. There was a caster. I told you there was two. The frog and the man.
The frog is obviously dead, laying on the floor, and you can see the remains of a human inside of the bones there.
Can I expect it?
Absolutely.
Out of character. Kick it in the ribs.
So I'll go over there, I'll poke around at it with my foot, and I'll actually ask Nilith, does this look like the guy you were talking about?
And I'll ask the DM, is this the guy that I was talking about?
Yes. It is.
It would appear so, yes. It seems
Well.
his creation backfired. So, you still think it is more than an idle trick, no?
Well, I wish I would have seen it.
Would
look
you
like
like me to
there's anything
describe
there?
it to you?
Does it look like there's anything there worth taking?
There's a spell book.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Taking it.
There's also a small bit of coins found in the person's coin pouch. There's 4 platinum pieces inside.
I'll pick it up and say, anybody want these?
I do believe Snake on Legs wish to pay his way.
Yes, I could definitely use at least one of those coins.
And he's like, what the heck, I'll take one too. I don't really care about money, but maybe it'll get me by.
And so she says, well, if you're all done here, I think we should go check out the last chamber of this crypt.
And before she's even finished saying that, Sparky is already on his way to the door.
Okay, Kelzu's
And
gonna follow
she
him.
thinks for a moment that I know her. So Sparky's leading the way. She's right behind, and then of course, Kelzu's following right behind her. And as you enter the room, there is it's a 20 by 20 room with a pedestal in the center of the room where a square of ice rests atop. Inside you can see the shimmer of a ring. The same blue light from before is above head, giving you plenty of vision down here.
And Sparky would get excited and be like, look, this is the ice that the person was talking about. And then you'd see him get really excited, and he would walk up, and he'd put his hands out in front of him, and he, kind of like he did with Burning Hands, how his hands turned that white color right before the flame comes out. But instead of casting Burning Hands, all he's going to do is just cast Firebolt and just try and kind of control the heat right in front of his hands to try and melt the ice around the ring.
You go to try and do that, but the ice, as soon as you melted it, reforms into solid ice again. So it looks like you're making progress, and then when you finally stop to check it, it solidifies into ice again.
So real quick, before we move on, does casting a cantrip, as far as a wild sorcerer goes, count as casting a spell?
No.
No?
First or higher.
Damn it, because I rolled a 1.
You just want to cast a fireball on the party.
No, I just wanted to see what happens, because no, he's using his own thing instead of the chart. So I just wanted. I mean, I picked a wild sorcerer because I wanted some random stuff to happen. So I just wanted to see. But if it doesn't work on cantrips, then oh well. Screw it. You know what? I'll burn down Burning Hands then. I'll use Burning Hands again. Just in a controlled manner. I'll roll the 1 and then Wild Surge.
Okay, if you can do 30 points of damage with your burning hands, sure.
Say what?
If you can do 30 points of damage in a single round with your burning hands, sure.
With my burning hands? That's 3d6, so I can't. But I used burning hands, and then I'll use the one that I rolled for the wild surge. So you tell me what happens with the wild surge as I'm trying to melt this ice. This is like the pinnacle of Sparky's fucking like scene here. This is him doing his thing, and just this shit goes crazy right now. What happens?
Sparky turns into a fluffy bunny.
Yes.
For roll a d4 for how long? How many hours? I guess.
Oh my god.
I should ask him how long. I should ask him how to teach me that trick.
2.
Okay, 2 hours.
Nilith sort of just crouches down next to this rabbit and picks it up by the scruff of the neck and just goes, "Boy, you ever do amaze me. Stop playing with these silly tricks. They're going to get you killed one day."
Silly rabbit tricks are for kids.
Killzoo's gonna
He starts-
look
he's
over
pointing.
and says, "Someday, maybe sooner than you think, a rabbit sounds like a good snack."
Oh lordy.
Oh no. Oh no. He hears that, and he wiggles his way out of Nilla's grasp and bolts out the door back to the corpse of the dead frog.
Awesome.
As you actually escape from a grip, she's going to attempt to catch you again. And if she manages to catch you, she's going to hold her in her arms and say,
So I think this is a challenge roll then, huh? What should we challenge? Dexterity?
Yeah, I'd say dexterity. That makes sense.
Okay.
So
Do you want to
whoever gets the higher roll?
an add modifier? Yeah.
Okay. What did you get?
18.
Well, it certainly beats my 4.
She just catches you up instantly, and she holds her in her arms like she's holding a baby, and she goes, "Do not worry, boy, I'll take care of you. Snake on legs will not be getting his snack today."
Okay. So I'm just trembling in your arms out of fear of being eaten.
She just rubs the bridge of your nose with one of her fingers. And she crouches down and she sort of beckons over Gigi.
So as Nelly
Don't do it, Gigi. Don't do it.
says as that Killzoo will be getting his snack today, he's gonna go up to this block of ice and just try to shatter it with his axe.
Okay. You can attempt it with probably an athletics check would probably be best.
Okay, and what's my bonus for athletics? +5. So that would be a 16, and then with action surge for a second attack, it would be a crit for a total of 25.
That you break the pedestal away from the ground and the ice immediately shatters. And the ring is left on the ground, glimmering in the light.
I look
think
at it goes,
Sparky
well,
in rabbit form.
if I
up
didn't
there.
get a snack, at least I freed the shiny.
And Nabblepot will walk over to the ring and pick it up.
So as this is happening, Gigi goes and jumps up on Nilith's shoulders and just looks down at the rabbit intently.
Sparky's up there on top of the pedestal, or what's left of it anyway, and he's just like, he's in front of Nabblepot, like looking up intently, and you can tell it's still Sparky. He's still got that character in him, that like uppity life, and he's just jumping up and down in front of Nabblepot, like wiggling his little arms.
Oh. Then I'm gonna have as soon as she's just kind of sitting, leaning up against the wall, just kind of waiting for all this to pass over. She trying to amuse herself. Then decides to use prestidigitation to kind of create a miniature trinket-sized version of Kelzu, and just has it walk right up next to the rabbit, just like chill there, like.
Okay, and then I'll see that like randomly, and then just like kind of run off, and then I'll look at both of them, and not really understand what's going on, and then I'll come up and like kind of sniff and nudge it if I can.
And just like makes it just do the kind of jump at it. It's just I'm going to scare you. I'm going to eat you.
If you've ever seen a rabbit in a fight, like they do all kinds of crazy kicks with their feet and backflips. So that's exactly what I'm doing to this little miniature version. Is I'm kicking it and backflipping off of it multiple times.
You guys hear Sin just cracking up, just like, okay. I had my fun. This is it.
Everybody gets inspiration for that fucking scene.
Not that we need it anymore, but I'll take it.
Hey, they carry over in my games, so.
All right, sick. I'll hold on to it.
So at this point, you'll have defeated everything down here, cleared out the place. Nabblepot thanks you and leads you out to the surface, back to the tavern. And
oh, hallelujah. Let's get a drink of that crappy black tar wine. Goodness gracious. I need to do a better job of this.
And when y'all return, you see that the other two that were in here before are gone. The elf and the halfling. And that the party has cleared out, as far as you can tell, the party of brown cloaks. So is there anything y'all want to do as an outro, or?
What time is it in the day at this point?
It's just past noon. It didn't take y'all very long at all to complete this task.
Actually, as we was on the way back, and we'd sort of finished, Lilith would mention to everyone, well, it would appear that we've succeeded in our task. It was a wonderful pleasure to meet you, boy, and girl, and snake on legs. You've all been marvelous. And this platinum coin, she just kind of flicks it. She goes, I have no need of coin. I make my own way. But if ever our paths shall cross again, then you can call me friend. Take care, my friends. And she walks off through the town.
Not before Sparky does a backflip off your shoulder.
She sort of scratches your chin and smiles at you. She goes, take care, boy.
Oh. I hope I
Allison?
never sit that one again.
What about Allison?
She still feels pretty miserable. She's gonna go get a drink and continue to be surly. Not even saying goodbye to everybody.
I think Sparky's just going to hang out with Gigi.
JJ, come. JJ.
There's
What
nobody
about
else for him to talk to.
Kelzu?
Kelzu's gonna walk back to the bar, keeping an eye on the rabbit. That seems to be following the cat. He'll ask for a room and a hot meal, and then retire for the evening. Even though it's midday, he
Awesome.
took quite a beating, so he's kind of exhausted.
And
No one took the platinum piece. Sin totally would have picked it up. He'd be like, "Shh, no one's gonna pick this up? What the hell?" Okay. You don't want it? Allison can use it.
everybody's got inspiration. Everybody can have one renown too.
Sweetness.
Cool. So what's Nabblepot doing here? Because I think ultimately that's what would dictate Sparky's actions.
She's trying to get that ring to gain some extra knowledge, some lost knowledge, that she believes is stored within it. More information on Cliff.
So she's going to do whatever she has to do to figure out what that ring is and what it does?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'll just kind of hop around until I'm done being a rabbit and then go back to the house for more training, I guess.
Awesome. And she'll take you to her place here in town. With that, that concludes tonight's session. Hope everybody had a blast, because I sure as hell did.
Yeah, that was great. I miss playing Allison.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
No, it was like one of the most fun I've had playing a game in a while.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Thanks a lot, man. That was really, really, really enjoyable.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and it was really
No
nice
problem.
to actually play
don't-
with some of my players instead of DMing for them. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, we're so
Well-
demanding.
Although, Tom, it's not for lack of trying. I have offered to run a game for you, but you're adamant on running them yourself.
Yeah, our schedule just never quite match up.
Can we go off air?
Yes.
After we say bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Bye everyone, thanks for viewing.
Au revoir.
And